Who is Magpie? Interesting name, right? Yeah. I don't know. Let's find out with the IMDb plot and see who she is. Magpie lives in an isolated church community ruled over by her father, the pastor. When a man is murdered, paranoia sets in and people start to whisper about a strange beast that lives in the forest. All right, beast in the forest, religious theme. Got some interesting things to unravel here. All right, so this is a fairly new film, I think, released on digital recently. So we'll try to kind of keep this spoiler free. I don't know that there are twists and turns in it, or that much. But we'll try to keep that hidden. This is one that I decided to watch because I know I shared it at least on the Promote Horror Facebook. Shared some of the stuff when it was releasing. So I kind of said, okay, why not? I'll give it a chance here and see what happens. Obviously not set in a regular current time situation here. I don't know if either I missed it or what. It really didn't say the timing of it, but basically this is definitely a different community. There's no cell phones and TVs and stuff like that. It is just a simple community, out in a kind of mountainish, foresty kind of situation here. Obviously set in their ways. Religion is kind of important and so forth. So it is probably back in the times at some point, but I don't remember it saying exactly when or if it did say when. But that's kind of the community that you have set up here. So it's kind of that olden days kind of theme here, and religion, and if things go wrong, somebody could be a witch or something like that, and that needs to be dealt with and so forth. So we the story kind of follows Magpie. She's the central character here. Early on, she's you see her, possibly, taking some abuse from her husband and so forth, and that becomes a problem, and she's going to deal with it, and they're going to proclaim that or she's going to proclaim that it was kind of an accident. Some people believe that or not, but because she's the pastor's daughter, that's kind of what everybody kind of goes with at the end of the day. And we move on, but she kind of rubs a couple of people wrong, and then that becomes a bigger issue here, and soon enough, one woman in particular, something happens to her husband. Obviously she's going to blame that on Magpie. That's going to cause some trouble within the community, and obviously put the pastor in a difficult position of how much is he's going to defend his daughter, and he kind of tries to straighten her out, but that doesn't really go over well. But is there something else going on here with her, or she's just bad, or what is the story, and kind of how he can kind of keep this community from falling apart. Obviously, I guess it's mentioned kind of in the IMDb plot, so we'll just kind of go with that, and not that's not really spoiling anything. But obviously there's a beast involved. Obviously there's some evil involved here, and let's just say it's kind of attached itself or come to the support of Magpie. And you'll kind of see it's not just all about the beast killing and whatever. There seems to be a little bit of rhyme or reason to it. I'll leave that kind of out so you guys can see that. So there is a little bit of rhyme or reason to it, but yeah, it is an evil force here, and it is going to cause some evil within this community and so forth. And so I think as far as the movie, and you know, I'll kind of leave the rest of the story as is, and you guys can kind of see what happens. Um, I think, you know, the beast itself is kind of interesting. You're going to get some shots of it, and I'm not going to say it's anything hugely new, hugely that we haven't seen. Seems almost kind of typical. It is a big dark kind of creature thing there, with kind of glowing eyes. Um, Almost in a way kind of simple, but I think, you know, there's a level of effectiveness for it, in the way they shoot it and kind of show it, and kind of always in the background there. You know, it is not always hands-on. Let's just say Magpie, you know, can be hands-on too. Um, so, you know, it's kind of, you know, one of those things that they kind of show you more, and it's kind of there in the background. But I can say that I didn't dislike that. I kind of liked the way they showed it. And like I said, even though it is not some super unusual kind of creature or beast or whatever you want to call it that we've not seen before, I don't know, something about it I kind of liked. I liked the way they shot it. I liked the way kind of seeing it there, kind of like how they used it as a reminder that it was there, and it was the source of what was going on. While, you know, it was not always the thing or the person or whatever it is that was getting its hands dirty and doing the evil stuff itself. I didn't mind it. I liked it. You know, I was good with that. I think where, you know, the rough parts of it is, you know, obviously it is very kind of typical, you know, of you know, what we've kind of seen in these type movies. You know, religion is a theme. You know, someone is there, you know, is she witchcraft? I don't ever think they use witchcraft, but they kind of tilt in that direction and kind of making you feel that way towards her. So nothing of that kind of element that we haven't really seen before in this kind of setting. So I think that might not, you know, be, you know, a great thing for the film. You know, it is not totally unique, and you kind of see it and you kind of know it. I also think that they never really dive far enough into anything in that realm. We never really dive far enough into the community to learn a huge lot about the community. I think they kind of let you assume that you already know, and you already know what kind of community this is, and so forth, and like you've seen this before. We get to learn a little bit about the pastor, but I think, again, they never really dive hugely into him. So, you know, you really don't, you know, you kind of see him and see, you know, how he is with his daughter, and then how he is with the people there. But, you know, there's not really that great setup there as far as with that. I'm looking at it here right now. Yeah, the movie's at an hour and 20 minutes, and I guess that is what it is. You know, they kind of move right into it. And I think, you know, maybe they realized they weren't doing anything hugely unique in kind of the setup here. So they weren't going to spend a whole lot of time, you know, with the pastor and, you know, making you feel a certain thing for him. I think at the end of the day, you're probably not going to like him. But I think, you know, they didn't really go into a deep dive about him or make him a huge thing. Even with Magpie, you know, they don't, you know, they kind of get right to it. They don't really give you a lot of her before, maybe when she was good or normal, or before this kind of beast arrives. So they don't really waste any time, you know, just getting into to that, which makes you kind of, you know, almost feel not connected really to anything that's going on here. You know, and kind of in a way, you know, I'm all for, you know, moving on, and I don't need, you know, all these deep dives into characters and whatever. But then on the flip side of it, you know, I think then it just becomes, like I said, you know, you as a horror fan, you have kind of seen this setup, and, you know, are they really giving me anything hugely different here and whatever? So, you know, I'm just at the end of the day seeing a lot of the same. Or something that I'm used to and can kind of predict. So on one hand, you have that with the story and so forth, And then on the other hand, you have The Beast, which I liked, but I can definitely see if you guys are out there and say also, hey, I've also seen that before. So at the end of the day, this movie is just, doesn't kind of have anything that really kind of stands out from any other horror movie, that we've seen in this kind of similar situation, and so forth. So, if you said that, I would, be fine with it. I wouldn't argue with you on that point either. But for me, for some reason, I liked The Beast. I liked what they did with him and so forth. I don't know, maybe I was just in the mood for seeing, a movie with this kind of thing in it or whatever, but I liked him. And again, it's not like he's talking or anything like that, but I just liked their use of him in the movie. And, it does have a little bit of a bloody moment here and there, so we do get some of that. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, is it going to stand out? Is it going to be hugely different from anything else that you guys have seen in this kind of theme and area? No, it's not, and I guess that's a problem for it. So I think at the end of the day, for me, I you would think that I'd give it 2.2 pools of blood, but I think I'm going to give it 2.5 just because I kind of like The Beast. So I'm going to give him a little bit of that 0.5, pull it up a little bit, but otherwise I don't, see anything super special. If you guys are kind of 50-50 about whether you want to see it or not, at the end of the day, I'm going to say that in a way you've kind of already seen this. So, for those who might not want to take a chance, feel that you've already seen it. But for those who may want to pique their curiosity with The Beast, give it a shot. Again, even with that, I'm not going to say it was super special or whatever. I liked that. At least I liked something in the story, and that's probably why at the end of the day I decided to actually review it. So at the end of the day, 2.5 pools of blood out of 5 for this one. So horrorsquarereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all of my reviews written in video, certainly tons of video reviews, so you can like and subscribe and do everything else that everybody wants to do here on YouTube. If not, no worries, is okay. I thank you for your time regardless. Twitter, Facebook information down below. Feel free to reach out to me there. Talk about this movie. If you did see it, did you like it? Did you hate it? It's kind of the same for you as well. Also in the comment section, feel free to chime in there. And with that, I'll catch you in the next review, horror fans.